I invited everyone for New Year's. Midnight struck. No one responded. No one showed up. 5 days later, Dad texted, "Send $10,000 for your sister's baby shower venue." I sent $3 with a note saying confetti. Then I reversed every tuition payment. 3 days later, Mom was sobbing on my porch. If I could go back, I wouldn't change a thing. That's how I know I'm not the same girl I was on December 31st. I'd spent 6 weeks planning the perfect New Year's Eve. Not a quiet dinner, not a group text for takeout, a real event. I rented heat lamps and bistro lights for the backyard. Ordered custom cocktail menus, printed real invitations with foil lettering. I even hired a magician for the kids because Amanda swore her 3-year-old loved magic. I paid for it all myself. The RSVP list had 34 names. Every single one confirmed. Parents, siblings, cousins, Amanda, her husband Derek, their daughter, even Derek's creepy brother who always flirts with me at family gatherings. Oh yes, Jake, my boyfriend, thought I was going overboard. I thought I was finally doing something for myself that I put together a playlist for the first time. I scrubbed every corner of the house. I got a second fridge just for beverages. I picked out a black velvet outfit with a gold zipper running down the back. Jake assisted me in stringing up the lights. By 7 p.m. on the 31st, the place was shimmering and set. 7:30, no one showed. 8 p.m., still empty. I messaged Mom. No response. 8:45, Jake ran out to grab more ice, just in case a crowd rolled in late. I snapped a picture of the setup and shared it in the family chat. No one even viewed it. By 10 p.m., a sinking feeling hit me. That sharp, icy stab in the chest, like a blade against my ribs. No one was coming. Midnight arrived. I sat alone by the fire pit while Jake mixed me a drink I didn't touch. Fireworks exploded over the neighborhood. I didn't cry, not yet. I just kept checking my phone. Nothing. January 1st came and went. January 2nd, I tried calling Mom, straight to voicemail. Dad didn't even open my message. Amanda went silent, which stung since I'd been the one to front her the deposit for her car when she was pregnant and couldn't get to work. The quiet felt too deliberate to be a coincidence. On January 5th, a text came from Dad. It read, "Send $10,000 for your sister's baby shower venue." We booked the Wilshire Club. No sorry, no mention of New Year's, just a demand like I owed them. I stared at the screen for 2 minutes before sending him $3 on Venmo with a confetti emoji. Then I did something they wouldn't see coming. Amanda's nursing school tuition, which she boasted about paying off debt-free, had been covered by me, quietly, month after month for 2.5 years. I did it because no one else could, and I kept it secret since she begged me not to tell Mom, saying it would drive her crazy. I logged into the payment system and reversed every transaction. My name was on every invoice. The refund landed in my account 4 days later. They must have contacted the school because, on the third day, there was a knock at my door. It was Mom, tears in her eyes, but not the remorseful kind. She looked frantic. She clutched a manila envelope, the kind we used for tax documents. She was trembling, and not just from the chill. Amanda stood behind her, arms folded, no baby bump visible. No husband, just her, with an expression that screamed something was deeply wrong. Mom said, "We need to talk. It's not what you think." She was right. It was far worse than I'd imagined. I didn't open the door wide. I just stood there, letting the cold air seep into the house as they fidgeted on the porch. Mom's mascara was streaked beneath her eyes, and Amanda looked frilier than I recalled, like she hadn't eaten or slept properly in days. Amanda was the one who finally asked to come inside. I didn't agree. I just stepped aside. They entered the living room like it was a stranger's home, which was ironic since Mom had sobbed on my couch the last time Dad threatened to leave. Amanda had slept in my guest room when she was pregnant and clashing with Derek. My kitchen was where I'd cooked them breakfast like it was routine. Jake stayed silent, watching from the hallway. Mom perched on the couch's edge, gripping the envelope like it was part of her. Amanda stood behind, phone in hand, coat still on. She didn't meet my eyes when she started speaking. She said they skipped New Year's because Dad told them not to come, not because they forgot or got tied up. He explicitly warned them it was a setup, that I'd planned it to shame them. He sent a screenshot, a $2,000 check I'd written to my friend Julia in early December. Julia's name was clear, with "hang in there" in the memo. Dad captioned it, "Nicole's bailing out strangers now. We're just her cash machine." They all saw it. Every one of them. And no one asked me if it was true. Amanda said it wasn't just the check. For months, Dad had been sowing doubts, saying I flashed my money to belittle them, that my generosity was a power play to rub in later. And they bought it. She didn't realize how deep it went until I reversed her tuition payments. That's when she called the school and learned I'd paid it all, every semester, every late fee. The refund went to me because it was always my money. That's when she dug into her own records. The car deposit? Me. Her ER bill from falling down the stairs? Me. Derek's lawyer for his second DUI? Me again. All quiet, all covered, no questions asked. Amanda looked ghostly as she said it. She felt foolish, manipulated. She said Dad twisted everything, always preaching fairness, claiming I abandoned them, so I owed them. That envelope Mom brought. It wasn't hers, it was Dad's. A ledger of every check, transfer, and favor I'd ever done, documented like evidence for a courtroom. He didn't keep it to thank me. He kept it to weaponize it. Mom said he'd been siphoning her account for months. She only found out 3 days ago when her bank flagged suspicious transfers. He'd taken over $30,000, vanished, shut off his phone, and his car was gone. She didn't know if he was still in the state. Then Amanda dropped something unexpected. The baby shower was a lie. No Wilshire Club, no catering, no guests. The $10,000 Dad asked for wasn't for an event, it was for a debt. Amanda said she owed someone, not a bank or a hospital, but someone who didn't send polite reminders. She said, Dad offered to fix it. I didn't ask how. He just took it. Now he was gone, and the debt wasn't. They were at my door because, after all the lies, silence, and betrayal, they still thought I'd bail them out. I didn't respond. I just stared at the envelope on the table, wondering how much they really knew about Dad's dealings. Amanda wouldn't say the guy's name, just called him that man, like it made it less real. But I pushed her. I said if she wanted my help, I needed the full truth. His name was Malik. Not a family friend, not someone we knew. She met him through Derek when they were still together, moving pills out of their apartment to pay rent. Amanda swore she never used, just handled money, sat in on meetings, signed papers without reading them. She didn't realize how bad it was until Malik started texting her directly. Derek owed him thousands, far more than she knew. After Derek split to Arizona with some girl from Instagram, Malik turned to Amanda. No direct threats at first, just hints, reminders, photos of her apartment door, then her daughter's daycare entrance. She told Dad everything in late December. He lost it, promised to handle it, said he'd protect her like a real father would. So when he asked for $10,000, she didn't question it, assuming he was settling the debt. But he vanished. I asked if she owed exactly $10,000. She paused, looked away, said no, it was closer to $60,000. Mom looked like she might vomit, saying she hadn't known. Amanda nodded, admitting she hadn't planned to tell anyone until Dad disappeared. Now Malik was texting again, asking for his money, this time with screenshots of Amanda's Facebook photos, her daughter's name, her workplace. I asked how long she had. She said 4 days. Mom opened the envelope and slid papers toward me. Copies of checks I'd written over the years for rent, car insurance, the time their basement flooded from a broken water heater. Some amounts made my stomach churn. I hadn't realized how much it added up to. Then she pulled out one final page, a handwritten note in Dad's scrawl, dated December 30th. It read, "She'll pay if it gets bad. She always does." That's when it clicked. Dad never meant to use that money to help Amanda. He took it knowing I'd step in, like I always had. He started the fire, betting I'd bring the water. But he misjudged one thing. I wasn't broken anymore. I told Amanda I'd think it over. Told Mom to take the envelope and leave. They left without a fight. I sat with Jake on the couch for a long time, silent. Then I got up, went to my office, and logged into an old email account I hadn't touched in years. Only one contact was there. Julia, the same Julia I'd written that $2,000 check to, the one Dad used to paint me as disloyal. But Julia wasn't just a friend. She used to work for Malik. I messaged her. That night, I started planning, not to pay Malik, but to end it. Julia replied quickly. No small talk, no catching up. I laid it out. Amanda owed Malik $60,000. He was threatening her. Dad stole money to fix it and vanished. No sugarcoating. She asked one question. Was this Malik the same guy running fake invoice scams from a vape shop in Madison Heights? I said, maybe. Amanda mentioned vape shops. Julia said he'd moved up since then, less brute force, more strategy. He ditched the thug vibe for legit fronts, shell companies, crypto wallets, a fake consulting firm laundering money through real estate. But he was still a collector, not of cash, but of leverage. He didn't use weapons. He used secrets. Julia said to hit Malik, I needed something bigger than $60,000, something he couldn't afford to lose. She mentioned a laptop, kept offline, no cloud, just a local drive with client files. It was in a second-floor office above a failed martial arts studio. The front door had a keypad, but the building's security was broken since 2019. She knew the layout from cleaning the unit next door and had the code. I asked if this was safe. She said, You asked for help. This is it. That night, I sat Amanda down at my kitchen table and explained everything. She stared like I was speaking gibberish. She didn't want to do it, said it sounded illegal. I reminded her she was already in deep with illegal. She didn't argue. I said we weren't stealing cash, just copying files, evidence to either scare Malik or turn him over to someone who'd act. She agreed, reluctantly. Tuesday afternoon, we went. She drove separately. We parked in the back. The office complex was gray, half empty, with units housing shady businesses with one-star reviews and no real customers. It looked abandoned. No cameras, no alarms. I went in first, pretending to visit a tax account down the hall. Amanda followed 5 minutes later, knocked on Malik's door, no answer. She punched in Julia's code. It clicked. We were in. The office looked like a doctor's waiting room, bare, slightly dusty. The desk held the prize, a laptop, open, charging, with a generic forest wallpaper. No password. For folders on the desktop. Personal, clients, clean, files. A fifth folder, burned box, was tucked behind a window. I opened it. Dozens of subfolders, all named with first and last names. I recognized two, Amanda's and Derek's. Each had photos, PDFs, voice memos, texts, even surveillance shots. Amanda at daycare, Derek counting cash in a kitchen. One file was a spreadsheet of account numbers. Another listed names under potential leverage, financial dependence. My name was there, tied to a screenshot of my old email to Julia from when I helped her escape Malik years ago. He'd kept it. I told Amanda to copy everything. We used 2 drives, just in case one failed. She worked fast, pulling every folder, names we didn't know, files we didn't understand. Then we heard footsteps, slow, from the back, not the stairs. A private entrance. Amanda froze. I shut off the screen, yanked the drives. She whispered, What now? No time to answer. The back door knob turned, smooth, someone with a key. We didn't think. We grabbed our bags, unlatched a side window, and climbed out into the alley. Amanda nearly sprained her ankle landing. We sprinted to the car by a dumpster, silent until we got home. I plugged in the drive, everything was there. I sent Amanda and Derek's folders to Julia. She texted back the next morning. Delivered. Done. That afternoon, Amanda got a text from an unknown number. Debt cleared. You vanish, we vanish. Stay quiet. No name, no threats. Just silence. We thought it was over. Amanda stayed over that night. But Friday morning, Mom called, frantic. Amanda hadn't come home. Her apartment door was smashed in. Cops already there. Not for a missing person, but because her name was on a folder traced to a laptop dropped anonymously at the Detroit Police Cybercrimes Unit. They wanted to know who else saw it. Mom kept repeating Amanda's name, barely coherent. Something about cops. Files, a detective asking questions she couldn't answer. I told her to slow down. She said someone left a laptop at the station, unmarked, no prints, just a sticky note with insurance in block letters. They opened it, found the files, not just Amanda's, everyone's. Julia said she'd deliver a folder, but I thought she meant a copy, something targeted. Instead, she gave them everything. Or someone did. The police now had the burn box. By noon, I got a call. Block number, male voice. Hope you backed up what you stole. Then he hung up. I froze. I hadn't told Julia about the second drive, or Amanda. I'd hidden it that night, just in case. I called Amanda, voicemail. I called Mom. She was at Amanda's apartment. The door was shattered, nothing stolen, no forced entry on windows, just the door and a slashed couch, drawers dumped. Amanda's purse and phone were on the counter, her car in the lot. Police said no signs of a struggle. No blood, But they were taking it seriously because of the laptop, blackmail files, criminal logs, recordings of 20 locals, judges, lawyers, business owners, all labeled. Some were already under investigation, others weren't. The files carried weight. Whoever dropped the laptop did it on purpose. I didn't tell Mom about the second drive. Instead, I called Julia. She answered fast, voice tense, like she expected me. She swore she didn't hand over the drive, just made a deal with someone to protect Amanda in exchange for the files. She didn't say who, but she sounded scared. I asked if Amanda was safe. She paused, then said, "Leave the house. Now." She hung up. I stood in the kitchen, phone in hand, everything quiet. Jake was upstairs, probably asleep. Then the doorbell rang, twice, then silence. I checked the peephole. Nobody, just a small, plain package, no return address. I grabbed it, stepped inside. Inside was a baby monitor, Amanda's brand, powered on. Slow, deliberate breathing came through, then a whisper, "One more move, you're next." I ripped out the plug and ran upstairs. Jake was awake, at the window. He said, "There's a car across the street. Hasn't moved in 2 hours." It stayed all day? Jake tried to brush it off. Maybe a neighbor, a delivery guy, but by dusk, even he felt uneasy. I watched the driver adjust something on the dashboard. No one got out. At 2 a.m., I pulled a Ziploc bag from behind the bookshelf, the second drive. I plugged it into a burner laptop, copied everything, tagged folders with names I knew, judges, former clients, a state rep. I set up a cloud backup on a dummy account, scheduling a mass email to send in 72 hours, encrypted zip, auto password, to 2 news stations, a federal prosecutor, and law blogs known for leaks. If I didn't stop it, it would go out. Then I packed a bag. At noon, Julia left a voicemail, just an address on Detroit's east side. She said she couldn't talk twice. If I wanted answers, come alone. I left the drive with Jake, told him if I wasn't back in 2 hours, send burners notice for final to zip to every contact in the folder. He nodded, no questions. I drove to the address, a parking lot behind a shuttered strip mall. Julia stood against a wall, hoodie up, hands in pockets, looking scared, not herself. She said Amanda wasn't missing, just protected, not by cops, but by someone unofficial. A man named Vin took over Malik's operation 6 months ago. Less chaos, more structure. Vin didn't use fear, he used opportunity. He offered Amanda protection, immunity, a job, a fresh start, for loyalty. I asked what kind. Julia said, the kind you can't walk back. She gave me another address, Warehouse District, near the river, 3rd floor, South Unit. I drove there, no plan, no backup, just gut. The building was half dead, 1 elevator, mailboxes taped shut. I took the stairs. The 3rd floor smelled of stale wood and smoke. The unit's door was ajar. I pushed it open. Amanda sat in the center, calm, not tied up, not crying. 2 men were there, one tall, clean-cut, mid-40s, the other silent in the corner. The tall one stood, said, "You must be Nicole." He was Vin. He offered a seat. I didn't take it. Amanda looked up. "I didn't want you in this." I said, "You pulled me in when you showed up at my door." Vin laid it out. Amanda had big debts, was vulnerable, but useful, detail-oriented, discreet, angry at the right people. She'd agreed to work with them, not just to clear her debt, but for something long-term. I asked if that was supposed to make me feel better. Vin pointed to a photo on the coffee table. Dad, sitting in a casino lounge next to Vin. "Your father funded the transition," Vin said. He didn't run. He stepped into the game. I felt ice in my veins. Amanda said Dad used the $10,000 to buy in, not to help her, but to invest. He sent the screenshot of my check to Julia to push me away, isolate me, so Amanda would lean on him. Vin said I was the wild card, the one Dad couldn't predict. "You're holding a grenade," he said. "Don't pull the pin." I asked what that meant. He said I could walk away, me, my files, Jake. They'd scrub Amanda's involvement, but only if I buried the drive. No leaks, no threats. A clean slate for me, too. He handed me a burner phone. 1 button, 1 choice. Say no, and people you care about disappear. I looked at Amanda. She didn't look trapped. She looked chosen. For the first time, I saw she'd walked into this willingly. I took the phone, left without a word. Back home, Jake was pacing. The car outside was gone. I told him to pack. We were leaving that night. But I didn't destroy the drive. I made 3 more copies, sent one to a lawyer friend in D.C., one to a journalist in Brooklyn, and one to a woman whose daughter vanished after crossing Malik. No return address, no explanation, just a note. In case I disappear.